completely blocking the driveway and going out into the road. We contacted the council and told them all about it. They gave us a job number, had a look at the job and said, oh yes, the curb needs raising on either side.
Yes.
They said, oh yeah, we'll get onto that as soon as possible. 6 months later, absolutely nothing has happened. So we contacted the council again earlier on this week. And they told us they're not going to do anything about it. Absolutely nothing.
That's ridiculous. I mean, I think we, is everyone agreed that we have a right to the county to receive this? 148 to 150. It'd be helpful if you let us have a job number as well. So
I've got those, yeah.
okay, if you could give that to the clerk, that would be extremely helpful. Thank you. Okay,
Thank you.
Thanks.
I didn't know whether I should write to them each week and just make it nuisance themselves.
Well, we can't do any harm, but no, we'll follow that up.
Right, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Okay. In that case, I need to reinstate standing orders. So do I have a proposal and a second? Right. Proposed and seconded.
We've already done it.
That's good. Thank you. Right, do I have any declarations of interest for the meeting?
I do, I've got accounts, you got payable that had some kids coming as well.
There's also a payment to South Cambridgeshire District Council, which we attract attention to as members of that council, but clearly it's a non-pecuniary interest. So. Right, so moving on to the minutes of the meeting held on the 10th of May. Again, I'll go through paragraph by paragraph numbers. 1, 2, over page, 3, 4, 5, 6, over page, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, over page, 12, 13, 14, over page, 15, 16, 17, 18, 90, over page 19, 20, 21, 22, over page 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, over page, and that's the end. Is everyone happy for you to sign those in that without reason? Is everyone in agreement? Please. Please sit back here. Sorry about that.
Thank you, so I need to write yeah.
Right, so moving on to the Recreation and Open Spaces Committee, minutes of the meeting held on the 17th of May. Again by number. 1, 2, over the page. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we have a recommendation here. Sorry, is it to the right? Yes. 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 Yeah. So we need to ask for formal permission for that for council. So is everyone happy with that? Sorry, it's agenda item 7 on page 2. And the proposal there to Rock being allowed to move grounds from Mill Lane to Linton Way.
Right.
The council has no objection, and it comes forward as a recommendation from the Recreation and Spaces Committee because it needs the sanction for the council. So is everyone happy with that? Yeah. Could you please vote?
Yeah.
agenda item 8, 9, 10. There's a recommendation here regarding spices that our present policy is confirmed and it cannot be hired by private individuals. And there's a discretionary clerk is removed on that because I think the committee felt that it placed the clerk in an invidious position of having to make that decision of her own bat. Does anyone wish to speak to this item?
Did we say that we wanted the council itself to have discretion to accept or refuse bookings by private individuals?
Not as I recall it, no.
Well,
I know we said we didn't want it to be at the clerk's discretion.
Yes,
But
yes.
I guess if somebody wanted to write to us to request,
It's like that,
yes,
I mean,
it would come to council
Yeah,
rather
yeah.
than being at clerk.
I mean, there can be a time issue. You have to give us a decision and notice for it. Go through the committee side. That's the other thing. Yeah, okay. So all those in favour of that recommendation? Anyone against
No.
or abstention? Oh, sorry, I didn't see
Yeah,
anybody
it's
against.
very
And agenda item 11, we have a recommendation that the parish council had does not allow. Sorry, does that we would only allow additional games as an emergency one-off. They found it when other teams were outside the village found were without a pitch, and there would not be a general agreement with outside teams for whole seasons and play matches. So does anyone wish to speak on that item? So all those in favour of that recommendation? Lights in the ground store. The cost of replacing them is a number of the fluorescent tubes in the ground store are not working, and in order to get them working they need new fittings, and the cost of replacing them is £107, 60 pence. We don't pay VAT, so we can include it.
Is that the cost of replacing the bulbs though, or the cost of replacing the fitting?
Both. Because as you'll see from the minute, it's not possible to get bulbs for that type of fitting, so we need to replace them. So, is everyone in favour of that recommendation? Can you please indicate? Thank you. Agenda item 13, which is on the main agenda, 14 and 15. Is everyone happy to sign those as an accurate record of that meeting? Oh, yeah, yes, okay. All those in favour? Sorry,
Secretary.
and Tony.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry, vote now.
Tony's in favour.
Thank you.
Thank you. So moving on to the planning and recreation, planning and environment, again by number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over the page, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Can I just
Yes, push it over,
say
yes.
something about 10? I wasn't sure that it entirely reflected the conversation and discussion debate that we had. There were a couple of things that I wanted to see if we could clarify perhaps in there. Particularly about the defining the area of a neighbourhood plan,
Yes.
which can be anything at all. Well, it doesn't have to
Oh,
be
yes, yes, yes.
coincidence
yes,
with a
yes,
parish
yes,
boundary.
yes, yes.
And so there's a sentence in the third paragraph which starts, before this could be done, the parish boundary sources would need to be altered to include them, those two new areas, which I feel if you were reading that without having been at the discussion,
Yes.
you might think that we couldn't draw a boundary that would be the one in the neighbourhood plan without first having extended the boundary of the parish.
That's a fair point, but the point I think that was being made here was that if we wish to include H1B and H1C, the boundary would need to proceed the neighbourhood plan. I mean, I do take your point. Do you want to suggest rewording of the minutes then?
Would that be too much trouble to do that?
No.
If, just as I say, if somebody came to read it
Can you
afterwards,
suggest a formal words there?
can I come back and...
Well, no,
No,
we have
it
to
needs to be done at the
we have to
meeting,
do
don't
it,
we?
yes.
So, how would we alter that that it didn't read as if the parish boundary would need to be altered?
Just remove the
Delete
sentence.
the whole
Well, just delete the
Change the
sentence.
sentence.
Would that be
Yeah.
acceptable?
Well, actually it's two sentences.
Both sentences from
Yeah.
before
It's
to
really-
just
it's really
require
required,
parish boundary.
yes.
Yes.
Sorry, right before
Something
this could be
before.
done,
So we're
yeah.
on
As far as review.
It has to be reviewed, yes, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor.
So we'd also need to delete also as well from the following sentence to make that consistent. Okay,
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Hold on, wait.
so we need to take that also there as well.
Yes, in the
Yes,
following one,
yes,
yes.
yes,
Oh, right, yeah.
I mean, that's not a substantive
No,
change.
that's just change that, yeah.
It's just a- Is everyone happy to accept that amendment?
Yes.
Okay?
I bet we'd better say, we'll put, Brian proposed it, we'd better do
Yes.
the second
Yes,
vote
you
for
probably
changing
need a
that,
second for that,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
okay, okay.
and then vote on that to
Okay.
change the minutes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Right,
Thank you.
11, over page 12 and 13. With that amendment, is everyone happy that we accept those minutes as record of that meeting? And seconded? So, yeah, so yes, okay.
Vote.
Okay, so all those in favour? That's unanimous, thank you. The minutes of the Cemetery Committee held on the 7th of June. I'm afraid I have to give my apologies for that, I was on holiday. So I'm in your hands over the accuracy of things. So paragraph 1.
Can I just, before
Yes.
you go to the paragraph?
Yes, good.
I was there, and as we note public appearances at public meetings, I would just like to have it annotated that I was there, please. Just as, as an observer.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I mean, the form of words of doing that in South Cambridgeshire is the member is there by invitation.
Yeah, that's why I do that.
Okay.
I don't ask
Don't really mind. Just
Well, yes, well,
Just want to acknowledge that you were there.
I was
just
there.
just indicates that you were there as a member. So.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So, paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are. 6, 7, 8 is a recommendation. There's two smaller trees will move to allow the third tree to flourish. Is that?
Yeah. There's particular thing over the top corner.
It's the top
Yes.
right hand
Top right corner. There's
Right.
2 trees that were put there as a temporary measure. Isn't that right, Mike?
Yes. Yeah.
And it suggested that they were removed because of it's affecting the healthy tree that's there.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds fine.
Yeah.
I mean, is all those in favour of that recommendation?
Are we doing recycling?
No, really.
Well,
I've got a problem. One of them's actually right in a bush, so you'd have to burn that whole. That was actually suggested on the day, but unfortunately.
9, 10, another recommendation to continue to use
James.
James, okay. To maintain the parish plot, which for new members is the one in the church town. For historic reasons, which I won't go into now, that is actually owned and maintained by the parish council, not the parochial church council. So all those in favour of that recommendation?
Mr. Chairman, could I just say I don't think it's BMT.
Well, I know, I put that because that's what they called it.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's what they called it, so I just printed it off instead. But yeah.
It's either GMT or BST.
You should
I know,
actually
he
know.
did
It
that,
means
he
both.
mixes it.
Hybrid.
Or whatever.
Yes,
I mean, I can change it, that's fine, but I'm just saying, I'll just copy for you.
Yes.
Just take out to be interesting, because
Yes, I would say just to change the time, so take out the word to BMT.
Yes.
Exactly as Ben suggested.
Mm.
Is everyone happy with that amendment?
Yeah, done that, yeah.
11 is another recommendation. There's the words of the plaque on the bench in the Memorial Garden should be Memorial Bench donated by Sawston Parish Council.
That one never did have a plaque on it, there's never a bench there.
We put a bench there when we did the memorial garden, and then the people stopped talking about putting a plaque on it. But
I think there was a feeling at the meeting that it was a way of indicating that this was something that had been given by the council rather than donated by, because the other benches have plaques to show that they've been paid for by other people.
Exactly, yes.
it seems a little unnecessary. I can see why, you know, if people are putting benches there as a memorial to somebody, then it makes sense to have a plaque. But given that the whole cemetery is owned by the parish council, it just seems a bit vainglorious to stick a plaque on the bench saying that we've donated it. I don't see why we can't just quietly donate it and not have to make a big thing of it. And it seems that it's presumably been an extra expense, which seems a bit daft.
The thing was, it was the surplus bench for 2 years. And funnily enough, after it was put in the memorial garden, we've since had a request for a bench. You'll see on the next paragraph.
So I'm going to take a vote on this now, and if you feel that it should be donated anonymously, please vote against the recommendation. No, I'm going to take a vote. So all those
amendments.
No,
the amendment has the effect of negating the recommendation. So if you wish to have no inscription, you vote against the recommendation. So that's okay. So those in favour of the recommendation?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
And those against?
1, 2,
3.
3.
No.
I'm saying that.
Okay, so that is carried, and we will have an inscription. So, agenda item 12, another bench. We've had a request from a resident to place a bench in the cemetery, and the recommendation is that we give permission for the bench, and thank the resident for the kind offer putting plaques on the bench if requested. So,
Could I perhaps just clarify that it's allowing other plaques to be put on the bench?
yes,
Because we've said, or the resident kindly said,
Oh, well, that, it
would be rather than just the plaque that they put on. If other people wanted
they'd
plaques,
allow them,
they could be going on. So I
oh
think
yes,
that
okay.
it would be better the wording could be clarified. I think.
Do you want to suggest an
Allowing other plaques to be put on the bench.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
And all future requests come to the cemetery committee.
Right, that was.
Yeah, that's in future, request for benches must go to the
Yeah,
cemetery
yeah,
committee.
So I'll make a point of that.
Okay,
So with that amendment, all those in favour of that proposal?
Yeah.
Okay, that's unanimous. British Legion to arrange. Sunday actually falls on the. Doesn't actually fall. Length actually falls on the Sunday.
We had a big discussion.
We
at the
did have a big
meeting.
discussion,
It should be
yeah.
Remembrance Day rather than Remembrance Sunday.
Oh yes,
Because
yes.
the service happens on the 11th rather than on the
Yes.
Sunday. So perhaps I think this was concordant with the agenda, which was also wrong.
Yeah.
Right. So are we actually? So
Remember
it's
the day?
the
It's on
11th.
the 11th.
It's yeah. I thought it was on
Yes,
the- I
it's
thought
on the
it was
11th, which is the Sunday.
Yes, yes.
It's only, it's actually to, what it is the British Legion like to go up and honour the veteran that's buried in the grave, and we're just asking permission to do it again this year.
Yes.
That's what it's all about.
Okay.
It's quite useful if you just put whatever day it is before the 11th, and then
Yeah,
It's
I
not
think
the
it's
news.
Sunday.
Friday.
delete some from
Yeah. Okay.
today.
Right. So those in favour of that recommendation.
Yep.
Chair. And fourth reading. So who's?
No, sorry, that was...
What are you proposing?
Oh,
Yes, okay. So have a
Second is
proposal.
fine,
here.
yeah.
Seconded by Neil. So all those in favour?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's confusing.
I'll now move on to planning applications, and the first of these is for single-storey rear extension and first floor rear extension at 88 Moore Lane. Does anyone wish to comment on that application? You've all had an opportunity to see it, I hope. Does anyone wish to make a proposal?
I would propose that we support.
So, all those in favour of that proposal?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
And those ones, myself,
That's not everyone's.
those against? And any other abstentions? Two abstentions. Proposed dwelling at 3 Westmore Avenue. For neo members, there was a previous application on the site in 2014 which was refused. I'll read out the reasons for refusal of the previous application, which was significantly larger and 2 stories. The reasons for refusal on that occasion were the proposed dwelling by virtue of its siting further forward than the adjacent properties in Martindale Way. Proposed asymmetrical front gable design be excessively prominent in the street views along Martindale Way and be out of character. The second reason for refusal was that the proposed dwelling by virtue of its siting proximity, height and mass would result in loss of light and be unduly overbearing on the rear elevation and rear garden of 3 Westmore Avenue. The third reason was the effect on 1 Westmore, similar effect on 1 Westmore Avenue. And the fourth reason for refusal was an inadequate level of external amenity space, garden. As I said, it was significantly larger than the application just currently before us. It's a pity in a way that we don't actually have an image of that, because I think in considering this application, I'm not going to guide you in either direction. You have to consider whether the present proposal overcomes those objections.
There has been a resident
There has been complaints.
Yeah. We've had the lady come in to look and she's sent in, but obviously
She
that's
shows
been read it.
objections. She's raising objections.
Yeah.
Has the proposed dwelling been set back in line with the rest of the dwellings?
It is significantly smaller. You'll see the flat.
Yeah.
There is garden space. There's actually no garden space, and the previous one came right actually down in the and he's almost completely filled the site. Yes, I have got a copy of the previous. That's the existing one. If you want to have received the previous proposal, I've got it here. This was number S257730
And this is last year.
yeah, well, it was a term year last year. It was submitted the 13th. So surprising how time flies, actually. I was looking at last year's, actually. I think it might be helpful to be able to see the difference between that and the proposal report, etc. Yes, okay, yes.
Where does it stand, David, with regard to all those conditions?
Well, this is what you need. This is what
I'm asking that.
you need to decide as a committee. I'm not going to guide you. You need to look at the plans. As I say, it is substantially smaller, and the building itself. The building itself is pulled back from boundary number 3, and there is a garden space, but very small. I'll read the letter of objection. There's a copy of one which has been sent to Katie Christodoulides at South Cam. So I'm
glad that was you, not me.
Thank you. Dear Katie, again for the third time we've been put in the unfortunate position of writing to you to put objects forward where our objections forward to the proposed dwelling with the same footprints almost as the last 2 applications have been turned down when put forward. The application this time says 117016FL. The plans have been submitted to you. You cannot see where they include our home property next door at number 1 Westmore Avenue. Reading the conclusions with the application, all the impact etc. mentioned is Martindale Way and number 3 next door. As far as we're aware, we've not been mentioned at all. Nobody's called look at the visual impact, loss of privacy and overshedding, the 1.5 story dwelling etc. so close to us from how on the property number 1 Westmore Avenue. So our main important concern to us is the size and proximity of the dwelling next to us. Not only would it result in complete loss of our privacy, it would also be completely overbearing and overshadowing.
I'll propose do not support.
Because,
I'll second that.
I need reason.
Do you
Yes.
think it's overdevelopment of the
Yes.
site?
The same as last time, yes.
Well,
Effective now.
yes, yes.
Right, so we've got
So,
what am I putting?
so overbearing on the neighbour's garden as a number 1, number 3 Martindale Way, and also the effect on number 1 Westmore Avenue. Unfortunately, the actual location of Westmore Avenue isn't shown.
We don't get true picture.
No.
Loss of land. Anything else? So overbearing on neighbour's garden, number 3 Martindale, and effect on 1 Westmore Avenue. I mean, that is.
I point out
quite
the
a
plans presented to you are not scaled, so there's no actual indication of the height of the building on it. But it will be lower than a 2-storey building because it's basically a shallow bungalow. Right, so I have a recommendation that we object to this application on those grounds. So those in favour of objection, please indicate. I'm not voting. Those
Right, hold on, against, anyone against it?
anyone against? Not voting.
You're no votes, there's 3 no votes.
And I think there were 2.
Abstentions, 2. That's it, yeah.
Right, so the next one is a 2-storey side and single-storey rear extension of 19 Rowan Avenue. And again, you'll see the plan, so comments please.
Neighbours are not complaining, have they? I say sensible. It's much more roomy side, isn't it?
I mean, basically what they're doing is creating a link between their house and freestanding
Yeah.
garage and they're going to 2 stories.
Right, you, Roger.
Second that.
Thanks.
So all those proposing no objection.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Right. Vote favour of no objection, sorry. Favour of no objection. Those against? No voting again, and do we have abstentions?
Abstentions, 12. And you're a no vote, yeah. 12, yeah.
The next one is the alterations, the internal layout and fenestrations and replacement of the conservatory roof at 14 Paddock Way. Comments, please.
Any comments from the neighbours?
Not
Propose with support.
I'll second.
Why does it need planning permission?
It's a change on the plan, the original plan, isn't it?
It's, yes it is, and also it's yes, it is, yes, yeah. Okay, so all those in favour of no objection, or
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
those against, abstentions, one abstention. Sorry, did you?
I was voting yes.
Yes, sorry.
I thought you were.
Sorry, I
Yes,
didn't get it.
yes,
So, 1 abstention, 2 no. 19, 12, sorry, yep.
Right, the next one is Section 73 planning application, which is basically to rectify, it's linked to a separate proposal, which will be coming before us, obviously not at this meeting, but shortly, to cite a temporary permission to cite a mobile classroom on the Belvedere site. And when this was came through, it became apparent that the landscaping on site at present differs in some details from that which was on the original commission. Looking at the 2 plans, it seems to consist mainly of the trim trail, which is not on the original landscaping scheme. So basically, that basically is what is concerned with in this application.
I propose support.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second.
Right. So I have support proposed and seconded. All those in favour? Those against? Those abstaining? 1 abstention and 2 no votes.
Yep.
Right. Yes, it's quite an interesting one actually, because basically what they're asking, the tree preservation order was part of the original, one of the original conditions on the application. However, the way in which it is worded, it appears to be only for the actual construction period. I'll read out the actual condition here. No demolition, site clearance or building operation should commence until the scheme of tree protection measures, the TPO at the front of the site, have been submitted to approved in writing by a local planning authority. Such measures should be implemented, maintained and adhered to for the duration of development operations. Reason to protect trees which should be retained in order to enhance development biodiversity and visual amenities in the area, according to policies DP1 and NE6 of the adopted Local Development Framework 2007. Now, to my mind, there is a slight, if the reason that this is being, that we're being asked to remove it is because the works are completed, there seems to be a slight disconnect between the, to my mind, between the first part of the
Yes, if
condition and the second
becomes
part
actually
of
during
this.
the building works, then it makes sense to go on protecting it now. So yes, I would propose that we do not support that because we wanted to protect those trees.
So there's no reasons why they want to remove it.
It is a very, I mean, it is very prominent on the street scene. I mean, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the site, I've got a plan here. It is, yes. It's just a big tree, big tree outside the chestnuts, yes.
Which is perfectly healthy.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So, we propose that we do not agree to remove addition 3, and a seconder. All those in favour of not removing TPO? Right, okay. Any abstentions? And 2 votes. Right, 2-storey extension at South, as a 2 South and yes, we'll give a reason for that, and that is the protection of the tree within the street scene, enhancement of the street scene. Yes. Well, if it's unhealthy, I mean, Right, so the 2-storey extension at South Terrace, 2 South Terrace.
No complaints?
No.
Do I have a second?
Yes.
Do I have a second?
You got it.
No objection.
So,
You propose we support that?
No objection, yeah.
yes, well, no objection. And you seconded it, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
While Roger was breathing in.
Okay. So all those in favour of no objection, please indicate now.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Those opposed to that?
No.
No. Those abstaining? 2 and 2 no votes. And another 2-storey, single-storey rear extension at 11 London Road.
No complaints? Alison?
Well, these are quite substantial houses on quite a large site. So I have no objection proposed and seconded. All those in favour of no objection?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Those against? Those abstaining? 2 and 2 no votes. The rear extension at 61 Evans Way.
No objections?
Seconded.
Hold on, I haven't even written it down.
Come on.
Look a bit fast.
Roger wants to get on.
I know, crikey. Right, Roger? Who
That's not me.
seconded it? Is it Alison? Okay, I'm ready. Vote for.
Right. So those in favour of no objection?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Those against? Those abstaining?
2, 2.
And 2 no votes, thank you. And finally, dormer roof window to the north elevation and 3 additional roof lights to the south elevation of 7 Harriers Close.
Surrounding houses like there, because I think when we've discussed dormers on previous streets, and we thought it was very much not part of the street scene, but it was for a particular.
But of course it doesn't quite make clear what north elevation is here. Is that the front or the back?
Well,
I mean, the plan probably makes clear now.
knowing the site, the house is sort of aimed on, gable sort of aimed onto the road frontage.
Right.
And so basically what you're doing, you will only see the dormers and the roof lights in profile. Or you won't see the roof lights because they're flush with the roof, but you see the dormers in profile. The roof lights are fairly modest. They aren't huge as far as I can see.
So the dormers aren't going to be obtrusive?
Well, I mean, they will be apparent, but I mean, it's, you have to make a judgment as to whether you feel like unduly
The
obtrusive.
neighbours are not complaining there.
I've not had any complaints in here, so.
I mean, it is on a close, so I think as I recall, it's on an angle to the house, the adjacent house. So, do I have a proposal?
I propose no objection.
Do I have a second? Okay. Neil.
See, good.
All those in favour of no objection?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Those against? One against. Those abstaining? And 2 opposed. We have two tree work applications to 152 High Street.
Can you clarify what work's being requested? Is it raising the canopy?
I've looked at the one for the number 54, and that's just crown lifting and thinning out to let a bit more light through. And I haven't looked at the one at 152.
I looked at both of those and it's, which one is the nearest?
54 is
54, which is overhanging the road quite substantially, so clearly could be dangerous. You know, that we would surely recommend. And the 152, which is further south, is a big tree that clearly needs just trimming.
Yeah, reduce the crown on the road side by 1.15 metres and crown lift over public footpath.
Yes. So technically, so we can bring it down. It's just fairly normal.
So I'll take those in order then. 152 High Street.
So propose no,
Support.
Don't fight it out.
You've got measurements gear.
Proposed by Kira, seconded by Alison. All those in favour, no objection. We now vote on this one.
That's everyone. Did you, sorry, Ken, did you? I didn't.
Oh,
Are you? Yeah. Okay.
And 54 High Street,
Propose no objection.
Support.
seconded. All those in favour?
Yeah.
Looking at your numbers. Right, the accounts for the...
No, can I just come in?
Sorry?
Associated matters.
Yes?
Thank you.
Okay.
The Quarry House, can I just ask if it's a listed building?
Yes, it is.
Right, good. I thought it must be, but I don't recall an application coming in for change of colour decoration. With a listed building, I think you have to get permission to change colour.
Change the colour.
No, so we had the signs, didn't we? But I don't
Yeah, so
recall colour.
no,
I'm not sure whether you do or not.
Yes, you do.
yeah.
Do normally with them.
Yes, yes, there was certainly an application for change of signs, because I
Yeah.
can't remember whether that
I'm sure it
was
did, but
included or not. I'd have to
really
really
ask.
ask actually. Yes.
So I know the enforcement officers went out there because they've
Yes,
got a
they
cage
did.
outside, which
Yeah.
was against.
Yes, yeah.
But obviously they didn't pick up on the colour thing. So what we can do is we can contact them and ask them for that clarification.
That's all I need.
I mean, I think they would have seen the colour because it had been half painted by that stage. By the time
I would have thought so, but
You're
so,
looking to that.
unless they're actually colourblind, I would have thought it'd been fairly
Yeah.
obvious.
But you'll look into that.
Yes, we will.
yeah, we'll have a chat with the enforcement people and check that out.
Thank
Come
you.
back to you.
And whilst I'm in listed buildings, could somebody enlighten me whether the house at Hutchings and Hardings is listed or not? You know, the big farmhouse?
I think it is, but I'd have to get back to you on that.
Good. The only reason is because I'm rather worried that the conservatory on the side, the right hand side of it, a lovely Victorian ironwork one, is, if it wasn't listed, then I would like to bring it up to be listed because it's such a
Yes.
iconic thing in the village, really.
You can normally check listings online, Tony.
Yes, there is.
They're all
yes.
listed, and they give the text of the listing so you can find out which
Yes.
bits of the building are listed.
I have got a list at home actually, listed buildings and Sawston.
Thank you, that's all I wanted to know.
Because I don't carry it around my
No.
I'm afraid. There is generally though, I mean, although there are exceptions to that, still iconic buildings outside that time period. There normally is a time cut off of I think it's 1830. Because I remember there was a
Yeah, but it's, I think it's 1834 or 35.
Yes,
Yeah.
it may have moved on a bit since.
Yeah, it might have been. Yeah.
A cut-off of what? That you can't list
Well,
later buildings?
well, you can,
Yes,
if they are.
you can list later buildings,
Yes.
I mean, like
If
Second World War pillboxes and stuff. Yes. But you have to make a greater case on architectural merit or historical significance for
I think
after that.
there's a case for that there, wasn't there? Architectural matters. No, go for it.
Yes, we'll find out. No, really. I agree, it's a building issue.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, so accounts for the for May 2016. You have those circulated in the minutes, so
Yes. Could anyone explain, there's what looks like a duplicate?
There is, I did email you, you can say first
Oh,
builders.
sorry, is that you?
Yeah, that was me, sorry. I was just seeing if you were reading them.
yeah, just
Spot the deliberate error.
yeah, so,
And what's the as the clerk looks like a high cost, what is local world?
Oh, Cambridge Evening News, online and paper.
yes, that was.
It's that's who do, they do the
Yes.
adverts.
Yeah.
But I'm worth it.
It's worth is a good point.
Yeah. I'll get that.
It's teaching her well.
So,
Mr. Chairman, can I just ask, can you remind me why we were paying for the repairs to St Mary's Wall?
yes, because it's our responsibility, closed churchyards, our responsibility. So it actually it goes up to the point at which the closed churchyard becomes the current churchyard, which is a
So the wall, that wall was...
Up to that wall, we
where
had
that
to
little shed
maintain it.
used to be, if you remember.
Indeed.
Yes. Yeah. And I noticed that the two bricks which you missed the first
Yes,
time
he's
were
come
being
back,
replaced.
yes,
Yes, I saw those.
Yeah.
I saw that being done.
Good.
Yes, yeah. Okay, so
When do we expect the payment of the insurance money? Have we had
Oh, we've had that, we've had both, for both insurance claims that we've had the money in, so.
do I have a proposal for council to be accepted? So clearing the deal. So all those in favour?
No, you can't vote, Chairman.
No, you're all the
No.
same, sure thing, aren't you?
Okay. So all those in favour?
Yeah, that's it, everyone except.
Ray?
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Okay. So that's unanimous apart from
Yeah, no,
abstention, not voting, no, just unanimous. Okay.
Can I just ask a question? We've got Sawston Parish at BT Connect as an email address on the minutes.
It's long time, it's still working.
It's still working?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So I checked that, I know I checked it, it's still working.
Yes, too.
Not the one we generally use though, there's not one on the website.
I assume that's
It was good to be consistent,
right, so we have some movement on the installation of the mugger after all these many months. We're not able to shift the county on the archaeological condition. So the permission has now been issued, been granted with the archaeological condition attached. However, I think
We've had two quotes,
had some quotes for archaeological work.
We have, so County Council drew up a brief for us under the terms of the County Council Framework Agreement, and I've had two quotes back of the three. £1,340 and the other one is £2,730. This is to do the initial deed to see if they want to.
Yes. So do we have a proposal?
We need to wait for the third quote?
The third quote has been requested but
I
not
have
received.
requested.
Okay.
There's three companies as well that the County Council use, so they've contacted three and said that I did need the quotes by today.
I mean, it'll be quite quite helpful to have a financial decision at this meeting, otherwise we'll have to delay it for yet another month.
Understood.
The archaeological work has to be done and then the marker installed. It would be nice to have it there before the winter.
So can I propose we accept the first of those quotations unless the third quotation comes in cheaper?
Yes, okay.
I'll second that one.
Right, hold on a sec.
When the archaeological part is finished, would it be worth thinking about parish council putting a time capsule underneath there somewhere?
Yes.
It's something nice for the schools to be involved in.
I have spoken to the school
I quite like the idea of time capsule in principle, because my concern with linking it to this particular project would be yet further delay actually on this. As I said, this has been knocking on for nearly a year.
Yeah, it's just something that
And I've also, I think the suppliers are still holding the
They're
price.
holding the price at the
And
moment.
obviously there is a concern that if we delay too long, we'll lose that estimate or quotation. Okay, so it's been proposed and accepted that we accept the first estimate of
Yeah,
1,340.
1,340 less the third one.
So unless the third one comes in cheaper. So all those in favour of that proposal?
Yes.
Yeah. Right, the long saga of the last
Overgrown saga.
Was there a problem?
Yes, and I think
Have you been glass of wine?
yes, I think you have an update on this, don't you, Jeff?
Well, I tried to get an update last week, and I'm waiting for County Council. They're going to ring me back. I told them it was urgent, so they said we'd respond within 15 working days. My telephone call.
Can we all apply?
That's urgent.
Yes, that's
So I basically, I don't know. I think we need to maybe look at taking on the Verges that have been passed from South Cans to county took on from South Cans. I'm trying to get quotes for it. If we do take it on, I believe with the areas now it's going to double what we're paying now. But I have told county if we take them on, we want more contributions.
Is that from?
Yes.
So we pay about 3k at the moment?
Well, we're up to 12 cuts, which when we agreed, the 3-year contract that we agreed, up to 12 cuts was £5,095. I think sometimes we get away with sort of 8 or 10, but we always base it on 12. And we get a contribution from counties, nearly £1,900.
Yes.
But like I say, I've asked for quotes, I've sent it off to them just to get an idea, but unfortunately the guy was away, so they were trying to get back to me. But I think looking at the areas, I reckon it will double it.
Brian.
I just wondered whether we could clarify this, as it seems like a rather perverse situation. Who's responsible, who's doing it, who's subcontracted to do it, the whole thing seems a bit of a
Well, I think we have some clarity on what it's worth and what appears to have happened. The district council sometime during 2015 discovered it was cutting Verges that the responsibility of the county.
right.
So it told the county that it would transfer responsibility to them. Unfortunately, nobody else was included in this move.
And before
I've written an email this afternoon actually, pointing out that it would have been at least courteous to have included the parishes in this conversation, since effectively the parishes will have to pick up the 7 to 8 odd cuts that the county aren't doing.
and it's a pity perhaps Councillor Orby isn't here this evening to have taken that back, because
That's why it's not here.
there was a decision by the county sometime in 2014 where they decided to make a third cut of their own grass, discretionary, on safety grounds.
Yes.
So not only have we got the shifting and passing of responsibility backwards and forwards, we've got a general loss of cutting anyway, and then perversity on perversity. We have a cut that's done on the bypass where the southern part of the island
yes.
are cut, and the northern part is left.
Yes.
And this, so, and there's a gap on the end of the left-hand side of Mill Lane, where before and after it's cut, and there's a,
Same got the same thing on Cambridge Road up by the spices as well.
yes,
Yes.
so,
yes.
you know, and a nonsense upon nonsense.
Well,
So-
I mean, I've had maps of what the district now considers
Yes,
the
got
county
it.
responsibility, and there are some most odd anomalies in that. For example, there's a section in Plantation Road where they reckon there's about 100 yards of the Verges still South Cambs, and the rest of it's county.
It's just ridiculous.
I mean, you know, I mean, how I as a councillor, or indeed any one of us, is supposed to explain that to the resident? I have no idea. I'm sorry.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
anyway, I think that
We're
there's...
getting reports from residents of people cutting bits of Verges.
Oh,
and
yes,
leaving
yes.
bits
They do it
that are like
themselves.
next
Well,
to them.
well, I mean...
So everybody's getting stupidly
Yeah.
jobsworth about it.
Yes, I mean, well, I mean, there are people, you know, I mean, there are residents, you know, public spirited, doing the Verges outside their houses, you know.
They can be pretty cross about it though.
Well, yes.
Yeah, but they're also rightly worried about health and safety
Oh, yes,
issues
yes,
around,
yes,
you
yes.
know, picking up a stone out of
Liability.
or getting dog poo that's hidden in there, you know.
That's
I mean,
even more
I mean,
sorts of grasses looking cat.
I mean,
Yeah.
I made the point anyway to South Cambs that at least it should be cut in the Verges for adjacent to the amenity areas, which it still continues to cut, because it's so little extra work. I mean,
Yes.
you know, to run that as part of a civil contract is going to be much more expensive. You know, just to, you know, if you look at it holistically, you know, the total effect on the public purse is.
Why don't
It's
they just
been
let one
minimal.
firm cut the grass in their village? They just do the lot.
Is
Why
that-
are they two different?
Because that would be logical.
Why don't they get the sales?
That's
just
just
do
been
different.
Sorry, but picking up on that,
Yes, yes.
I mean, that seems like a perfectly
Yeah,
reasonable
but they're running
answer.
they can't,
And
they've
they-
got no brain, they can't work that
Well,
out.
but if we just take a financial contribution
Yes.
in lieu of that, and then organise it ourselves,
Yes. Well,
and then we won't get this
yes.
nonsense.
The problem is the financial contribution we get from the county is only about. I mean, there's quite a long history to this, because it must have been about mid-90s when the county reduced its cuts to 3 a year, as over 3 or 4 a year at that time. And again, we had complaints from residents, particularly in the Woodland Road area, and Windmill Close was quite a large area of grass, that it was getting long and it wasn't being cut. And at that time, the parish council took over the cutting of grass, which it was told at that time was a county responsibility. So that's the reason we have this contract going. We get some compensation from the county, but it's only about half of what we actually, that's less than half of what we pay for the contract. So we're always out of pocket by doing this, but I mean, I personally feel that it's a service we should be offering to our residents, because 2 or 3 cuts a year is completely unacceptable in a residential area.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's not even working on a safety basis. I mean, you look at some of the roundabouts in this county, you know, not sort
But the issue is a county-wide issue. I mean,
it is.
there's villages elsewhere all over the
Galley's
country
had
with exactly the same
Yes.
problem. So we're not alone. But
Galley's had a big issue about
Can we cut the grass ourselves and knock off the cost of that to what we pay the county?
Well,
They seem to be rather taking their...
We don't pay the county.
we don't pay the county.
We
They
don't
pay
pay
us.
a contribution
Yes.
towards it. They
I
don't,
mean,
yeah.
So I think looking at a way forward, what I'm proposing we do is, as an emergency, for the rest to cover this for the rest of the season, and then when we get to the autumn, we have to do our budgets for next year.
Well, I was going to say, our grass cuts, the contract is up
Contract.
anyway,
Yes,
February,
yes.
so I'm going to have to start looking at the end of the year
But I
to
think-
get 3 quotes, so then we can decide what, you know, how much of the area we're going to.
I mean, I can't pretend I'm pleased about this. In fact, I'm extremely annoyed. But in order to provide an acceptable level of service to our residents, I think we're going to have to take
So,
this on.
for the rest of the season, get our contractors to cover what's out, what
Yeah, I think
council
they
are
have to,
doing.
yes. I mean, I'm proposing that from the chair. I mean, I'm happy to accept.
What
the
additional
suggestions.
cutting are you suggesting? How many?
Well, I mean,
As many times as supposed to
yes,
take when they come out.
we've done at the
progress.
same time as the rest of the cuts. So basically, they're in the hands of the gods, and if you get a wet summer, then more growth, then you have more cuts.
But surely you should be suggesting some form of cost implication.
Well, there is a cost implication, yes, and I mean,
Otherwise it's an open-ended check.
well,
It's a maximum number of cuts
it is,
still.
yes.
I don't know how many they've already
I don't know
done
how,
this
I'm
year.
not sure without checking how many we've got left, but it's,
if Joe could
I
suggest,
mean, I'm not going to say,
if we want a reasonable maximum figure, would that
well, at
would
the
that be-
moment we're paying ex-VAT is, say, £425.
Hmm,
Per car.
I imagine it's going to double.
yes.
I might be totally wrong.
But if you're going to double the size of the car, it's got to double, isn't it?
Yeah,
But I
yes.
think I'm looking at the
Well,
areas then.
I
It
mean,
doesn't necessarily have to double, because there must be some element
Well, they might
of
not,
it
yeah, but
that's
if we
just
go
a visit.
by that, then
Yes.
it's not.
Yeah.
It's quite
That's actually what you
I mean,
want to-
the new areas are quite significant. They're all the Verges and the Martindale Way,
Yeah.
Evans Way, this
So,
area.
And just to
And
clarify,
all the, nearly all the Verges in Linton Way, also Plantation Road, Green Road, Vicarage Avenue, Churchwood Avenue, Sunderland's Avenue, Dale Way, Holm Way, all that area as well.
so these are the ones where the situation's changed, where
Yes.
they belong to the county
Yes,
and South.
yes, yes.
So the things that still retained by South Cambs, they will still cut.
Well, they'll cut the
Council,
amenity,
they'll cut the amenity bit.
they'll cut the amenity
Won't cut
areas.
the-
like
So the internal grass, which is why it's one of the reasons it's so perverse,
Well,
because
it-
either side of a
well,
path will be
yeah.
treated differently.
Well, I don't actually, I'm still trying to get my head around these plans, because in some areas they seem to have accepted that principle, and they are doing Verges opposite
Mm.
amenity areas, but in other places they aren't, and I've asked for an explanation anyway, that's all I can
Do you think this
say.
might be down to petrol contractors themselves?
Well, it shouldn't be, no,
It shouldn't.
I mean,
No,
if
it's
you're negotiating a
Yeah,
contract, you tell them what areas you want
Yeah.
cut, you know, you don't send them into the village and say, do what you think.
Yeah. Do what you think with
That's what you want me to do then, so we're going to
Right, well-
post the rest of the season, our contractors cover what county not doing. Yeah,
Yes.
so- and then,
David, what's the implications and how many cuts do you think we might have? So that we've got a cost implication.
Well,
I don't think.
I mean, we're probably talking about 4 or 5 the rest of the season.
4 or
That's
5
unreasonable.
cuts.
September, October, probably 5.
Yes,
Five.
yes.
Times
Because
your
again,
400
again,
An extra £2,000
if
is
you have
that
a
what
mild,
you're
if
saying?
you have a mild wet autumn, you could be cutting up to the end of
Yes,
October.
maybe we've had that before, so you
But I
could-
think, I think Neil's right, we ought to be.
You've got to have a
having
cost.
sum.
No,
You
yeah,
must have some.
Well, that's, yes.
Is that additional cost of?
6 cuts.
Well, six,
Yeah, but I don't know
so-
how
Up
much
to
it's
well, if
not
you-
cheap.
2,500.
if you reckon they're 425,
Well, that's,
you have one pair at the moment, and we're
so if we
doubling
did
that, so
5,
the
that's
extra
like
would be,
2,500.
so 420.
Well, if we did 2,500, then that.
Yes, that will cover it, yes. Is everyone happy with that?
Well, can we also, at the same time, whether we'll get it or not is a different thing, can we ask the
Oh,
council
we
to
will,
recommend
we'll definitely.
for
We
doing
will.
that?
We will certainly, yes,
Right.
yes.
even though we're saying that we'll accept?
Yes,
Contribution, right,
Yes.
okay.
yeah,
You put that in your proposal.
yes,
Yeah.
So, all those in favour of that
Seconder,
proposal?
sorry.
Oh, sorry, seconder.
Sorry.
Well, actually, my proposal from the chair, I think is.
Oh, right, okay.
That's
Right.
true.
Vote.
Thank you.
On a longer term basis, is it at all feasible that our staff can do
No.
this work?
Not without
No,
employing.
definitely
No
not.
way, it's got too much.
Can't do it.
Well,
I'm just-
Yeah,
Just
no,
asking if
definitely
possible.
not. No.
Okay, so agenda item 40 is review of parish council meetings. You recall that the annual meeting there was some discussion about whether we should either modify the committee structure or the meeting cycle. We have now appointed committees, so I'm proposing at least for this year we maintain the current committee structure. But there's certainly a feeling in the recreation committee, and probably certainly looking at last year's pattern, that monthly recreation committee meetings are not necessary, and that probably we can manage on quarterly ones. I'll defer to the chair.
It just seems that there seems that after last year there was an awful lot of little business, and it was a case of coming down to a meeting, talking about one item and going home 15 minutes later, which sort of like ruins people's evenings. And if you've got better things to do with your life, there's that. So it was recommended at the meeting, and I think it's a really good idea.
Sports, cricket, you know, there's other members there from cricket and they agreed. So
that we held quarterly meetings, we'd have a much fuller agenda, and we'd probably get more done, in all honesty. So that's what the recommendation is.
So if the issue is that the subcommittees don't have enough to constitute a reasonable agenda in the constitution of the meeting, why doesn't that item get subsumed into the general meeting, monthly meeting?
Well, yes.
Well, it's easy enough to bring a single small items.
Well, yes, certainly if it's a financial item, we'll do.
Oh yeah,
If it's financial, but generally speaking, the problem you may have with that is it may be a sports-related problem that we have. So we have cricket committee here, football committee, bowls, and it may be an issue with those. That's really difficult for them to bring an issue to full council. So they bring it to us at recreation, and then we take that to full. It's a long, drawn-out process, but it's the one that seems to work the best.
But if there is something urgent or whatever,
if it's something really urgent, then it comes straight to council anyway.
Yes. So basically that's the proposal, that we reduce a recreation committee to 4 meetings a year. All those in favour of that proposal?
Yep.
That's unanimous. 41 was the play inspections. This is something we have annual inspection of play equipment. We have three quotes. For new members, it has to be done by an independent firm, and it is a legal requirement for our insurance. So we have quotations of 250, 320, 339, and 50.
And what's the second one?
They are, and they're the ones that are recommended by our insurance company as well.
So I propose we go with
So,
them.
do I have a second, please? All those in favour?
Yeah.
Okay. And the office photocopier, Joe.
Hold on.
Oh, this is just your new story.
No, I haven't seen it yet. I don't use it. The photocopier we've got at the moment is ancient, and the people that we get it from came in last week, so we can't actually get any of the parts for it now. Enough. So he's offering us a new one which scans and it's all singing, all dancing. At the moment what we do is for 5 years you pay rental, and then after the 5 years you just pay the service. So for this new one it basically is going to cost us an extra £54 per quarter.
Making a
5 years.
What's the quarter rate?
£54.46. Oh, making it. Oh, so the new machine for a quarter would be £168.
Yes.
At the moment we're paying £140, which is just the service. But then after the 5 years, whereas now we're paying £114 for the service on this old machine, this new machine, because it's all modern, that it will only actually cost us £32 per year, so per quarter for the service. So eventually, once we've had the 5 years of rental, we'll actually be paying less.
But aren't we likely to be in the same situation in 5 years' time?
No, that
machine's
machine's
that machine's old.
old. That's,
So 5 years was paying off the machine, and we've had 5 years on service only contract.
How much is the new machine?
Oh, we don't pay for the machine. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if that's in
Well, just looking for a comparison.
See if that'd be
Because the lease purchase option is not particularly financially. No, absolutely. I mean, if you've got an option to purchase and buy the service, you're probably financially better off.
Then if you buy a new one, then it goes. Oh, we don't pay for the toners and stuff.
You still have
But we don't pay for the toners or anything on
yes.
so it's got to be cheaper.
Yes,
I sort of know the picture of the photocopier salesman.
Yes.
That's what schools do.
You can Google it. What's that?
Yeah,
So, yeah,
What the lease?
Lease.
I don't know.
The
So
beauty of a lease, though,
I'm
is
not
they're
sure.
lease, if it does completely break down, they replace it.
No, they replace it.
Yeah, that's one of the main advantages of lease, isn't it? Whereas if you've got your own one, and you bought it and it completely breaks down, you've got to go and buy another one.
Well, not necessarily. You normally, any electrical item, you have the insurance problems. If you buy something new, you get an insurance with it. So all I'm asking for is a comparison. We're paying £3,500 for renting it. And what's the comparison in cost?
I think you just said it was 150 something per quarter.
Yes. But then you take off the service contract, because you'd have to have the service contract.
Yeah.
Service contract.
That's 32.
£32.
Yes. Yes.
So 154 minus 32 times 20, still 2,500 2004.
But then you would have to pay for call-outs and breakdowns.
Well, no, because you'd be under a service contract. So.
Do you want to Google? See how much one is. I don't know how much it is as a
I mean,
so it's not a big £3,500, is it?
We usually defer to.
It's going to be cheaper.
Well, except there's a exception needs decision on this, doesn't it? Really?
It's going to be cheaper to buy it because
Well,
they wouldn't sell lease contracts if it wasn't going to make them more money.
It's not really fantastically heavy use, is it? It's not like an office one. It's presumably it's just. It's
oh no, it does get quite.
Yeah.
No, we do have to go quick.
I mean, it's a machine that's appropriate for the use of the
Yeah.
collection, isn't it? I mean, we are made to specify.
So, having just to finish that train of thought, it would definitely be cheaper, but the question is whether it would be that much cheaper. We'd probably save maybe 500 quid over the life of the contract.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, it is and it isn't. The convenience and the fact that we can make the decision now.
Yes.
Can I just throw
If not, I could always find out and
something
just
in?
take it back to
Yes,
next.
So Kieran and I have talked about the possibility of doing an IT services review as part of the finance and FGP process. One of the things I noticed, for example, when Jo did the new members' packs, was that she'd photocopied a PDF.
Yes.
Well, the obvious thing for me would have been to print the PDF.
Yes.
So, and I'm just thinking that if we're in that mode of reviewing perhaps IT as part of a wider brief and services, do we want to put that in and put that into the finance and
It was a major part of what's actually what the office is
You
actually
could do
doing.
it and then effectively 15 times.
As it's not
Yes,
drastically
you don't print to, you can't just use it as a printer.
It is a printer. I'll print and then when I've printed something, I'll photocopy it.
Yes, if you're sitting at your computer,
Yeah.
you just say print 15 copies and it does it on that machine.
Yeah. It depends.
Okay, sorry, so I'm not quite sure why you're printing the 30, sorry.
No.
Yes, yes,
Joe works.
yes.
Yeah, it depends what it
Just the way cheaper.
Yes.
Well, it's the decision.
No, we can take it to FGP.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
So
yeah, I mean, it's,
could we get
I mean,
the price for buying it outright?
I mean, if
and
it's,
then price for the
if it's
obviously
not-
the toners and stuff.
I mean, if we've got enough time to do that, so
Yeah.
I obviously don't want you to be left
No,
without a
that's
photocopy.
fine, sure.
Okay, we'll do that then.
Great.
Yeah.
Coupled with the price for a new one to buy one,
Yeah.
Yes,
we
that's
just
right.
need to
Yes.
see what guarantee they get
Yeah.
or we get with it
Yeah.
and how long for.
I think if you buy one, you've got to buy the toner cartridge.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
well,
well,
that's
then
going to be a
so find out what the
cost,
service
but yeah.
So you've got
The company won't offer you a leasing package if they're going to make less money
No,
than
no,
you
no.
bought it. So, on straightforward financial grounds, they're
You
going to
just
make
have
more
to
money.
factor that in, don't you, for the
Yes,
buy.
absolutely.
Because they're not cheap as you're going to have.
No.
Like, is it a colour one, is it? I assume it is.
It's
Or
No,
not?
it's only black and white.
No.
A black
Yes,
one.
No,
yes,
no.
yes. No, you certainly wouldn't get a colour one too. Right, okay. Okay, so we'll defer that to them.
Yeah, it's fine, yeah.
Okay. So the next item is the electoral review of South Cambridgeshire, which we've been consulted on.
Everyone's had a copy.
You've all had a copy, I think twice actually, of the Boundary Commission recommendations. The changes for Sawston are fairly minimal in that the Boundary Commission has been looking for a reduction in total South Cambridgeshire councillors. I mean, this is across all councils, now I'm just doing South Cambs. And the council agreed to, with the, and the local government boundary commission has accepted it, to reduce the total number of councillors to 45. There's also been a ward boundary review, and I think the good news as far as Sawston is concerned, our ward boundary remains the same as it is at present, but we just dropped to 2 members. We don't acquire other villages and become a 3-member ward, which would be another alternative. So, I mean, my personal view is that that was actually a good result for Sawston as far as we're concerned. I would support that, but I mean, that's, if anyone wishes to take a different view on that, I'm happy to hear it. Yes, you make personal representations, but as a parish council, would you be happy? I mean, would you be happy to endorse the recommendations as far as Sawston is concerned?
Propose we endorse.
So proposed by me and seconded by So all those in favour of making that representation? Those against? Those abstaining? 2. And I think that's everybody, isn't it? Thank you. Correspondence.
Just a thank you letter from each for the donation we gave them. Don't need to read it out.
Manila as well.
No.
Update back out to councillors. You have a printed report from Tony Orgy.
I've just received it when it came in.
Gail Kenny, actually, I didn't
Well,
think it was by Tony Orgy.
There's 2 different ones.
That's from both of them.
There's one that's left here tonight as well.
The one I've got is the one that,
I'm not proposing to read it out. But I would highlight the change access and capacity study, which is part of the city deal work. I don't know whether you'd like to say anything about it as a South Cambridge representative.
The thing is that there's been a huge debate, and I'm sure everyone's been reading the press. There was a lot of argument about having a congestion charge imposed in Cambridge City to try and reduce the traffic going and obviously reduce congestion. That met a lot of argument, and basically speaking, South Cambs were not happy with that. Certain members of the county were not happy with that. So they sat down, and the Assembly sat down and looked at the options that have been highlighted. So the ones that they're looking at are better bus services to expand usage of park and ride, better pedestrian and cycling infrastructure, better streetscape and public realm, peak congestion control points in weekday mornings and evening peak periods. That one, as you can imagine, is creating a bit of a hornet's nest. Workplace parking levy, that's also not everybody's happy with that one. On-street parking controls, including residence parking. Really sort of speaks for itself. Smart technology, which is, I've seen what Cambridge University are coming up with, and it's actually quite amazing, to be honest. And travel planning. These all being taken to, these all being recommended by the Assembly to go to the Executive. The Executive have recommended it. Now the officers will go out and get some feedback on this in consultation. What they are proposing with the peak time congestion control points is doing a 6-month trial, and then coming back to the general public and asking for opinions on how they thought it went and how we thought it went and how the council thought it went, and move forward with that. But it's just something that's we needed to highlight, I think needed to be brought to everyone's attention, because it does actually impact on a lot of people in Sawston that need to get to work in Cambridge. So just to make you all fully aware of what is going on. That's it really.
Any questions?
It concerns me, Mr. Chairman, if you've got a complaint, you've got to go on some website.
Well, the City Deal
I
website.
can't do that, but I'm still going to complain about the flooding, which they say in the first paragraph.
Yes.
Is that how
It's Gail's, it's the Gail and Tony's report to do it. They're mentioning about
Page 1.
reporting. It isn't the only mechanism for reporting.
You can ring, I ring.
You can still
Yeah,
ring.
sort of ring them because
Really?
the
That's no use ringing them at all, is it?
Well,
Because
you
they
match
can't-
within 15 working days.
You must be joking.
50 working years, I
15
think.
working days. I'm still waiting. I'm only on day 3, so I'll let you know.
on holiday, that's the problem.
Well, you know, but whoever Mr. Kevin Council member, I should still keep that and
They've got an open day.
Yes, they have. Yes, you're right.
They've got
Give me the
several
dates.
options for you to go on site and tackle them face to face.
Yes, and also,
There's an opportunity
also
to,
there is a,
well, they can come out and do the sites and still do nothing.
not understand, but
yeah.
maybe if we go to one of their open days and ask them directly, it
Well,
may
they're also-
have an effect.
there are also paper response forms available at
I can give the
the
dates.
open days as well. So
How many times, Nick, have you been and met people reference the
They're
flooding?
just coming in.
Honestly,
Oh, yeah.
how
I have
many?
had a response about Hertfordshire.
Oh, it does, mustn't it?
Yeah.
Go on then.
They're not going to do that, but they are.
I don't know when, because I'm waiting for him to confirm when, but they will be jetting surface water system and then doing a camera survey to see where the main pipe across the road ends, and they can act on
Yeah,
the
they
fast.
can.
Oh, they've been out and done that.
But they missed the opposite side of the road, they haven't done that where the gully is full.
Yeah.
They've only done half a
So I
job.
need to get him.
But when they work it out, the water from that gully still comes to this way.
Yes,
Do
yeah.
you want me
So
to
it
get these
either
to come
comes
out again?
underground or on the surface. Because water always runs downhill.
Really?
Yes, okay.
None of us ever considered that
Yes,
one.
yes, I mean, maps and paper
Yeah,
response,
yeah,
yes.
bring up
Yeah.
taxes issues.
Okay.
So Peter Taylor, I feel sorry for him because he quite needs his solution, you can't do anything about it.
Right, so is there anything on the update by county councils that we should comment on? Right, okay. So, Kieran, GHC.
Sure. So, just for background, a year ago, or maybe 18 months ago, JHC invited the parish council to make suggestions for people to stand, or people who would be interested to serve as trustees. So, representing the parish council, but not being an ex officio member. And so I became a trustee at that time, and I, as part of that, I then give these reports every quarter or so. So just to give you a quick update on how things are, we've seen an increase of about 25% in terms of number of clients that are being seen by our support workers against the comparable period last year. And more to the point, the issues that we're dealing with are a lot more complex. They're more to do with sickness and disability benefits. We're doing a lot more helping clients to appeal benefit decisions. So basically, this is the effect of welfare reforms are being seen at the sharp end, where the clients that we deal with we're helping them on
Are
this.
these people being sanctioned, for example?
That's certainly one of the things, yes. It's more that benefits that people, when they apply for might easily have got now, then they're being more frequently assessed for and being more frequently turned down for. So yeah, this has been a trend now for the last year or so, where we've been dealing with more complex issues, and we can see that continuing. So, but as it happens, we're down on the number of bags of food we've given out against this time last year. So it's hard to say why, but that does go up and down. Interestingly, in terms of the inquiries about benefits is now top of the list of the reasons why people are inquiring. Normally, it has been traditionally grants. People have contacted us to ask about grants, but and 2/3 of those inquiries have been about health and disability benefits. And as I say, that's increasing. In terms of recent developments, we have a new chairman, David Baslington, who's been a trustee since 2010. He's lived in Sawston for years. He used to work in the health service, run the oncology department at Adam Brooks. Now, for the last few years, he is an administrator of a Christian charity in Coton. He became chairman at the AGM in May. Our new office building, John Huntington Centre, should be handed over from the builders in the next few weeks, and will be moving at the beginning of August. So there'll be a week where the old office closes, and then we're planning to reopen again the Thursday afterwards. But we're hoping that the residents to the new 2 new flats above the offices should be able to move in at the beginning of July.
So your existing offices have been converted entirely to
these are the 2 new flats above the new offices.
This is in the former campus house.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the former campus centre, we've converted to offices downstairs, and then upstairs has been converted into 2 one-bedroom flats, and we should be letting those. The plan for the old office in Tannery Road is to convert that into 2 two-bedroom houses. Obviously there'll be planning for that, both change of use and plan permission for the development, although the development will be all internal.
Yes.
So just to, as a heads up that will be coming, we'll get ourselves moved in and move more to the point, moved down to Tannery Road, but then we'll be drawing up the plans and putting in plan permission for that. Members will remember that I mentioned we were buying 2 properties in Mill Lane that South Cams were disposing of, which was taking an age to complete. We are now finally the owners. We've been trying to clear the gardens, but when it came to the incredibly overgrown garden on the house to the left-hand side as you were going out of town, it turned out to be an even worse job than we thought it was, because there's tons and tons of rubble underneath all the brambles. So we're going to have to pay to have that removed, just so that we can get round the site.
The house itself is sort of semi-derelict condition, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. Remember, it was in private hands for a long time. So the one next door had been a council house, but the one on the left had been in private hands for a long time. South Cams eventually bought it, and then sold it to us.
It was a very complex series of transactions.
Exactly. I think I mentioned before, our hope would be to look at taking those 2 houses down and developing, because they've both got huge gardens, and developing something on that site. So we're at the stage, we have to clear the site so we can just look at it and measure it. And then we'll be starting to look at options there. So we should consider whether, I don't know how controversial that will be, whether we should come to have an informal discussion with the parish.
I think it would be advisable to certainly to have a pre-act discussion with South Cams, and also it might help, to discussion plans of the parish. But I mean, it's not without precedent, because as you know, when the area houses in Churchfield Avenue and Sundance Avenue were redeveloped, there was similar arrangements done where it's possible, and and also Belvin Way, which is on the site of the old steel houses, was a similar time development. So yes,
So
I to say it's not without precedent.
Okay, when the time comes, we should talk about whether it would be useful to have an informal presentation before we make formal planning for that, but yes, we'll definitely be going for pre-app. And we've also given grants totaling about 12,000 to various local organisations, so major grants to organisations, as well as we've given out 6,000 to individuals so far. I tend to finish always with an open invitation, but as there's lots of new members, anybody who wants to come and find out more about us, visit the offices or come and talk to the staff, you're always welcome. We will be having an open day and a proper sort of opening of the new office building at some stage later in the year. But if anyone wants to find out more about what we do and come and see more about what we do, then do just give me a shout or call the office and we're happy to take something up.
And do you have an excellent website?
Indeed, yes, there's lots of information on there.
Yes, okay.
Thank you, and as always, I'll send this.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Any
you.
questions? Okay. In that case, I'll move on to councillors' issues and agenda items for the next meeting. Before we start off, I've just got a couple of announcements to make as chairman. You'll see in front of you a more detailed list of the training programme which we released in July. I do hope everyone will be able to turn up for it. I would like to make for upholstery. I can't shoot you if you don't come, because I do please try and make the effort. They are extremely helpful.
And they'll be here at the office.
Yes, they're not going to The second thing is there's following discussions at the last parish council meeting and also at the planning committee. I've talked to Alison Torkington, who is neighbourhood plans officer, and she's agreed to come to talk to us on the issue of neighbourhood plans. I'd hoped to be able to arrange that for the next planning committee on the 28th of this month, but unfortunately it clashes with a rather key meeting at South Cambs, so being the portfolio holder whom I wanted there, and also two other officers are involved in that meeting. This is basically to decide whether South Cambs goes for the devolution deal, so it's an important meeting. So it won't be sort of July, September, I won't know the birth dates. Hopefully it'll be July, September. Okay.
Or is it worth, given there won't be a recreation in July, is it worth moving planning by a week?
As I say, it was about a fortnight in it, isn't there? So I've tried to stick to that. Sorry?
No, you're just trying to stick to the existing format.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, that's just a suggestion.
I mean, planning committee meetings aren't usually all that heavy, unless we have sudden spate of applications. And I'd rather do it all in one fairly substantial.
No, it was whether you might move the planning meeting.
Oh, I see what you mean. Oh, right.
Now have a Tuesday free.
So,
Could maybe try that day and see if she's free.
well, yes, okay. I mean, I've actually given them the July and September dates now.
The 2 days now.
Yes,
unfortunately.
yeah. Okay. Thank you. That's all from me. So we go around the table.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I've got a bit sick and tired of seeing every month all these people extending their houses. In Sawston, we've got no small houses that will come onto the market in the future because they're all going to be more or less mansion size. Young people and residents of Sawston will not be able to afford this sort of money. It's been talked about the growth of Sawston down Baden Road, and we're getting no further.
Well, we're waiting for the local plan inspection to complete, which I talked about this before. I mean, it's intensely frustrating for all of us, not only on this council, but also at South Cambs and all the other players. But at the moment, Rach is working
But the thing is, what I've been thinking about is how many members of this council know the boundaries of Sawston on the eastern side?
Well, I have actually checked this on the boundary commission.
Well,
With your permission,
I looked at it in relation to the
Yes,
neighbourhood
sure,
plan,
yes, yes, yes.
and have gone on to the
Yes,
council
yes.
website where it's
Yes,
defined.
yes, yes, yeah.
I mean,
I think it's probably the same map actually, it's just through different...
I'd just like to give all members of council a map of the boundary. And when you have a planning commission or planning meeting, just to have a look and actually see what it is.
Well, taking the seat of those,
Thank you.
there's a wider issue in terms of a shift of accommodation or occupation of existing housing. So while there's a huge squeeze, sorry,
That's why we're starting.
so for example, the population of Sawston has been pretty static
Yes.
over the last 10, 15 years, certainly between the two censuses.
Yes.
And we've got an ageing demographic. So there's a continu So the bedroom tax is an example of the results of that shift, because people are having people leave home, they don't want to move, so they've got a spare bedroom. We've got people ageing populations of one partner is dying, for example, and leaving one in sole occupation. So there's a general shift, and the increasing cost of housing generally, and we're at the fringe of the Cambridge effect here for that.
I think we're more than less than the fringe on it actually. I think
Yes, and it has a big impact on house price increases, so people are more likely to want to stay where they are and increase the size of their house rather than try and move, because it's economically more viable to do that.
I mean, also, it's quite interestingly and possibly counterintuitively, the experience on the Cambridge fringe sites is that the demand tends to be the 3 or 4 bedroom houses rather than 2 bedroom houses. And most of the 2 bedroom ones tend to go goodbye to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway,
On this area,
yes.
The extension of Sawston isn't in Sawston.
No.
It's in Baybrook and Pampersford.
Well, I think it's actually in Baybrook. I think the Pampersford boundary actually goes along the eastern edge of that site actually.
Is it this footpath of Pampersford?
Southern edge, yes.
The Pampersford one must be Baybrook Road.
Yeah.
Because that's where Baybrook finishes. Those 2 houses are in Baybrook.
Yeah, that's Baybrook, but this side, I thought this was...
So if
That's the somewhere
Baybrook finishes the Baybrook Road with those 2 houses.
Well,
To the south of that must be
That's where the
Pampersford.
hedge is.
well, no. The boundary, as I understand it, goes along the edge of the industrial estate, up the path to the side, Stanley Red Close, and up to the corner. And there's then a sort of point at which 3 boundaries meet: Sawston, Pampersford, and Baybrook. And the Pampersford boundary then runs off, I think, along the south east side of the Wards and Huntingdon's charity land. So although if those sites are chosen for development, they will come up to the Pampersford boundary, they don't actually go into Pampersford, as I understand it.
That was my reading of what I had the map in front of me.
Boundary Commission maps. Yes,
I concur with that.
yeah. And as the boundary turns south, all the land to the west of that is in Sawston. So it's only that little those 2 little triangles. outside the village, but that is quite a lot of development, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yeah.
But I've put a green line on the existing railway.
Yes, yes, yeah.
So if you take along the railway track and then back to Sawston, if the railway track was planted with trees,
Yeah.
you wouldn't see Sawston at all.
No, you're not.
They completely covered.
Yeah.
But when you can come down the south somewhere and you get a lot of area in there.
Yes, yes, yeah. Right, so thanks for the maps
Yeah,
anyway,
that's
and yeah. And
Trying to have a look and just sort of
no, I mean no, that's an important issue actually. You know, thanks for bringing that up.
So it's easy to see it on a map like that than what it is to think about it.
Yes,
By
yeah,
just doing it.
yeah. Okay, thank you. Roger.
Yeah, it's really what will cut down Mill Lane. How do we replace it?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
County
I thought
council.
they
Well,
I thought they had
So,
I've highlighted to Joe the legislation on which they should be replaced. It's my intention, if we haven't got any answer from that, to actually write to the appropriate part of the council and ask them at a community meeting for a decision. Because they are legally obliged.
They are all TPOs, aren't
Not under the TPO.
they? I know because I've got the TPO.
So if they can more easily, under a CPO, say, no, we're not going to replace them.
Yes.
Under a conservation order, or sorry, under the conservation area, there doesn't seem to be the same cop-out effectively.
Yes.
So my intention, and I've obviously got a vested interest in this, as we look out of our window at that area, and it was a beautiful environment to live in, and it's part of the conservation area, so it seems to me there's an obligation to do it. So if we do that, if we actually challenge the county council to do what they're obliged, they will at least presumably have to respond with a reason not to do it.
I think the county is aware of the issue, aren't they?
Yeah, they've sent me some
Yes,
legislation, but I haven't got it to hand.
Yes.
I think to replace them requires a little bit more work because they've still left stumps, haven't they? They need to be taken out. The road would then have to be reinstated, would it, as such, back to as it was?
They did the stuff.
No, I always understood it as orders. They should replace it, but it doesn't necessarily have to be in the same place. Why not put it at the end of the villages where you've got those greens with nothing on it?
No, for the conservation area, they have to replace
In the same place.
like with like, effectively.
Well, roughly,
And why not
Roughly,
preserve
sure.
it?
in the same place.
Yeah.
They're not exactly in the same hole, but
No.
yes,
But they still have to remove that stump, wouldn't
Yes.
they?
The stumping was done.
Yes.
So what the tree surgeons or whatever left was the results of
Was
the stumping. Yeah, they
Alright.
took the stumps at least down to a certain level, but for
So you
some
could
reason they left the chippings in situ. Don't know why.
Well, there is a plan, I gather, to rebuild the pathway along there. I say
Yeah.
rebuild
They said that they can repair the path now that
because
the
it's in
trees aren't
such a state that
Yes.
it virtually is a rebuild rather than a repair. I think. But anyway, they are going to deal with that, and that certainly is of some benefit. Yes, I
But
think-
they've stalled on doing the work on the trees
Yes.
themselves, haven't they?
Yes, yeah.
Can we just make sure that we push them to get the trees
Sure,
replaced
right,
and
I think we should
to
write
repair
it
the
down,
path
yes,
properly?
yes, very right.
So
I'm
we
happy to
can
do it personally as well.
Well, we need to do it
Well,
as
we could
parish
do it
council,
through
don't
parish
we?
council.
Can't we?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
move
I mean,
that
so-
across and all
I
of
mean,
that.
you can certainly make an individual representation as a resident. Yeah,
I'll do that anyway.
Yes, yes, oh, yes. Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay. So, Brian, did you have anything else?
We were talking about the maps and so on.
Yes.
There was a suggestion a while ago, I think, from yourself about the possibility of producing a projector.
Yes.
And I'd offered an alternative
Yes, you
of
did.
getting
Yes,
a
yes,
screen,
yes.
because I
Which
have some
might-
experience in, which might be
Yes.
even better.
Sorry?
It's going
It's going to F&G.
Oh, it is?
Here, I was
Oh,
going to
okay.
look at it because you're
Yes, yes.
Okay.
doing something.
Yes. All right.
Based on F&G pay.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yes, a couple of things. There's a large contingency of lorries going up and down Bowden Road to the, I guess they're going to the new football area. I just wondered if there was in the planning application or when they got permission, whether they were asked to go via Pemberton Witch into it rather than Bowden Roadway.
I don't think so.
No, I think it's
It's just that some of the lorries do come
I
that
was going to
way,
say some
Yes.
and some come along
Mm.
the top road.
there's no conditions on there which way they come in.
I mean,
We missed it.
Bayburn Road is the official sort of HCV approach to that estate. And that area
Oh yes, but it's 40 an extra 40 or 50 a day
Oh,
at least,
I do, yes, no, I do.
and going to be for the next 18 months or so.
There was an issue before the condition was imposed on them to stop the transfer of soil of a lot of mud being left on the road as well, which is a lot of version that's created a dam. So that, I think that was addressed, that was a
Yes, and there was also a prohibition on using paper in High Street as well.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
The second one, probably some people know about it, others may not. Outside the post office, actually in Mill Lane, a couple of weeks ago, a lady was knocked off a bike with a car or by a car.
Yes.
Not a travelling car, but she was riding on a bicycle and the car door opened because it was parked illegally
Yeah.
and knocked her off, and she's still not right. I just wondered if it was...
That's a police matter, and I think...
Oh yes, I know.
Yes, yeah.
But the number of times we've had the chief inspector in here
Yes.
talking to him, and I did ask him the question, this is a meeting which is open air to everybody, and what you're saying to us is you're not prepared to go down there and monitor the people that are illegally parked. And he said, yes, that's great, we're not.
There is actually maybe a panel meeting on...
But what did that do? The chief inspector said, quite plainly, in an open meeting, that he's not prepared to send people down there to monitor it.
Oh, yes, well...
He said it for the last 2 years.
Yes, but if as has been demonstrated, there is a risk to life and liberty, then he would to my mind.
Yeah, so perhaps now somebody's actually been injured, we'll have more discussion. But it's so dangerous there.
Every day.
There's always a risk if you turn left on a bike or in a car, you'll go into the back of somebody who's illegally parked.
And my reflection on that, watching this day in, day out, every time I go and have a cup of coffee, is that they would need somebody there permanently
24 hours a day.
For a long time before people would alter their behaviour.
It needs a few tickets
Yes.
for a couple of weeks.
And
Yes.
then
And then you would need to come back 6 months later because it would return.
Possibly.
Well, but I think it would need something of that nature.
Yes.
Just
What we remember as well is we had the meeting with the police chief constable and we voted against it because they was going to charge. We could have had the policing down there, but this is their logic, they was going to charge us £1,000 for 6 months, wasn't it?
Yes, it was 42 hours.
42 hours
Spread
for
over 6
well,
months.
6
So
months.
we pay their wages anyway.
Yes,
Or we
yes.
pay
That was your
That was exactly the argument. In fact, I think you made it and that.
They've asked us to supply bicycles and motorbikes and cars.
Yes.
What else do they need? We get them the money.
Right. Okay.
Thank you.
Kieran.
What you did it as well.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, a couple of things actually. I had a phone call yesterday from a lady down to the bottom of an also cabin has had it a couple of years ago.
No, Harper.
But
Yes, we had ladies in Maple.
Yes, yes. And she virtually said to me that somebody's going to get killed and I'll be suing you.
Yes, yes. I had the same conversation with her. She lived in East John Miles when I was on holiday and I rang her back. So yes. But yes, we are aware of the situation. I did email Joe this afternoon actually about that. So.
Well, the other thing is there's some building work nearly finished on Sunderland's Avenue, and they will park their vehicles opposite on the two little bits of green on Homeway.
They're also they are creating an obstruction down there as well, aren't they?
Yes.
They are, yeah.
Well, if they're creating an obstruction, the police can do it.
We've just had that discussion.
Well, no, if they're causing the obstruction, they have, yeah.
Bring it up at that panel meeting you're on about.
Yes.
Yeah, it's tomorrow night, so a good representation would be good.
Yes.
It's at the
Village College.
Village College.
I do email, everyone's had it.
Yes, yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah.
Oh, you won't, no. There's no planning meeting in the village magazine diary. So we get the final.
Neighbourhood plan, yes, that's it. That's tomorrow. Neighbourhood plan.
What did you say?
I said, is the neighbourhood planning meeting in the village
It's
magazine
neighbourhood
diary?
panel, not neighbourhood planning.
Panel,
What's
sorry.
that?
So,
Oh, I don't know. It's
it's tomorrow evening.
Yeah, but I don't organise it.
No,
I don't know. I'll just email it to everyone. Yeah, I don't know if it's in your diary. I wouldn't put it in. I don't put it in there. No, I don't know whether.
I mean, if you're...
I just when I get invitations like that, I email.
If you're on e-cops, you should get the... You should be...
No, I stopped subscribing to e-cops.
Okay.
I'll see if I can space it a bit.
Colin. Alison.
On this rare occasion, to the amount of obstructions and parking on double yellow lines, it's a real bugbear of mine, Lindy's car dropping off.
Oh, yes. We've had several conversations with those over the years. At one stage, they agreed to unload...
They were supposed to unload up here.
Yes, they were, yes.
Yeah.
And
I have seen them occasionally, but
lasted for about a
I
fortnight.
think they only come up here if they can't get out in front of Lindy's.
Yes.
Every
Might do it
Tuesday.
again.
Every Tuesday.
Yes, yeah.
It's a biannual
Yeah.
It is, yes.
Well, you
I
can
mean,
say that about all papers.
I mean, one of the concerns though is that it is a local business and it's an important presence in the high street.
And yes, I understand that. But it's still double yellow lines. It's still just in front. It's just outside the chemist.
Yes.
What am I talking about?
Really does bug me. When did you say you can park around the corner and run off the ramp?
Yeah, but if they park down there, just
block this road.
Yeah.
they
Might
put
as
it
well
down there.
start
Yeah, well, it is,
So you get Boswell, their lorries pull up on that bend. And for the Chinese, the Indian restaurant, they pull up on that bend. No, that's more dangerous. Their cars coming on that bend where they can't. What it is, vendors parking arrows.
If they stopped in Baybrook, they could drive through. Still parking on a double yellow line. Well, I'll see you outside. No, thank you.
The couple one is I've received an awful lot of complaints about the resurfacing on Baden Road. There's usual complaints of people's cars being scratched. The surfacing seems to be remarkably loose and not bedded down. It's nowhere near as good as yours was done on New Road. And also there seems to be a humongous mess at the Seven Pussy. So I was just wondering if we could point out to highways that they've actually done a really poor job.
Yeah, but the point is, that's still as rough as it was before.
They haven't done the road now. It's an absolute mess.
Absolutely. Yeah, the only thing that resurfacing does is seal the road.
It doesn't even do that, does it?
Well, no, that's what it's designed to do. Because I asked the question when they were doing the lane, because the same thing applied. The underlying surface is completely untreated, and they just paint over it with bitumen, and then
it's tarted up, basically.
I mean, there's only work, so they do a proper filling job on any of the, any potholes
existing holes.
I mean, to be honest with you, it's an absolute Dogs dinner up there, and if we could make an issue of that.
Because we were assured that they were going to do it.
They said they were going to fill it in before they resurfaced.
Yes.
Yeah,
And they didn't.
But I mean, it's a complete waste of time. It just says on, you know,
And it's not going to, I mean, within, I wouldn't even give that 12 months, and you're not going to have the difference that's even been done in the past. So if we can make some advice about that. The other one is, being that I've standing job between Brian and I've got a shop in the high street.
That's where I went wrong.
Yeah. Is that I've noticed an increase in articulate lorries coming through the high street again. I mean, we'll get an average of possibly 2 to 3 a day. But they're all going up to Dale's Manor, but I don't see. There's no Dale's management system up there. I was just wondering.
Are they foreign vehicles or?
No, they're not foreign. There's 1 or 2 odd foreigns, but generally speaking, they're
foreign ones. They're set now, even funny places, don't they?
But there has been in there because they're supposed to go up and come down and along the road.
I think you need to recommend it to the police because basically it is a weight restriction zone and therefore it's a police
and we all remember the horrendous accident that happened there a few years ago.
Yes.
So they won't be able to get through because
Vince's lorry's there, yeah.
So they're my 2. That's all I've got to this time, sorry.
In that case, for no further issues, I'll close the meeting at 9:14.